Nasty weather and wonderful meteorology taking place simultaneously today. We've got this storm system, which is just spinning around this big bowling ball now, making it out into the Atlantic Ocean. There was all kind of thunderstorm activity blossoming on the Maryland shoreline today as this storm hit the Atlantic Ocean. It was somewhat of a bust in the Washington, D.C. area, and that's the kind of situation we're dealing with where very fine line between wet and heavy snow and plain old cold rain. And some places like DC were expected to get several inches, maybe a foot of snow, and did not wind up with that much, but you only had to travel 10 or 15 miles to find spots that saw 10 inches of snow. So we've got this storm moving out into the Atlantic. Look at this moisture trail hanging down in the Gulf of Mexico. Notice the clouds here over eastern Canada just getting wrapped into the storm. That's why we have these occasional showers coming and going today on this ever increasing northeasterly breeze, which has been developing over southern New England. And then as we look farther to the west, we've got this little X factor, this disturbance coming through the jet stream right now, moving through the UP of Michigan. See the swirl in the atmosphere? That's actually going to catch up to this storm once it hits the roadblock as the storm moves out to the east, northeast, and well south of Nantucket. But when that jet stream disturbance catches up and gets involved, it'll enhance the precipitation over southern New England and possibly back over New York State and into areas that are seeing the storm today, like New Jersey and eastern Pennsylvania. And that's Thursday night and into Friday. So this is a long duration storm. It's going to have a big impact. It's not most likely going to be the biggest snowmaker we've seen this winter, but we had a blizzard that brought those phenomenal snow totals. The snow that does fall is going to be wet. It's going to be heavy. It's going to be difficult to move, and it's very difficult to forecast. Let me tell you that. I know that there are a lot of people out there that are poking fun at the different forecasts that they're seeing, saying, well, these weather guys, they have no idea. These weather girls have no idea what's going on. These meteorologists. Let me just say that it's very difficult, and there are different forecasts that you can legitimately go with in this kind of a scenario and not be laughed at within the meteorological community, because it is that close of a call between the heavy snow and just plain old heavy rain. But that's just part of this storm. This is the snowfall map that we're projecting as we look at mainly rain in southeastern Massachusetts. Once you get down by the coastline of Buzzards Bay, out to about Plymouth and the South Shore, and then onto the Cape and the islands. The biggest impacts out there, coastal flooding and the strong winds, 30-mile-an-hour sustained winds on the Cape for probably 48 hours straight with 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts in that same time frame. And not much different as you hit the south coast of Rhode Island, Buzzards Bay, or eastern Mass, probably more along the lines of 2 straight days of 25 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds and 45 to 55 mile per hour gusts, taking us right into Friday. I-95 corridor, we have a lot of that area shaded in the 2 to 5 inch range as far as the snow is concerned. We think the bulk of that snow probably coming tonight. 2 or 3, maybe 4 inches of snow. What happens, though, when that next area, that disturbance is over the Great Lakes, gets involved with this system? That is what we're calling it the X factor, and we'll see if it's too warm for snow at that point in Providence, in Boston, or if it does go back over to snow that accumulates tomorrow night, Thursday night, and into Friday. We still think the best area that has the potential to see a foot from this storm is up in the normally favored areas for heavy snow, the hills of northeastern Connecticut, northwestern Rhode Island, and up into Worcester County. You don't have to get too far outside of Providence to get the potential for 5 to 10 inches of wet and heavy snow, and we have that going down into parts of interior southwestern Rhode Island, West Greenwich area. Could pick up 5, 6, 7 inches of some pretty heavy stuff. This is not going to be the kind of snow that's easy to move. So when you get that amount of snow, if it does cling to the trees, there could be some downed tree limbs and power lines. Then factor in the strong winds. If you do lose power, it might be a couple of days before the crews can even attempt to restore it, as a result of the gusty winds, which prevents those crews from getting out there and working in those kind of conditions. So that's some of the issues that we're dealing with. Coastal flooding, again, a concern along the coast, mostly the east-facing shorelines for several high tide cycles. You can find out more about that on rightweather.net. Now, there are some computer models that have some heavy snow over southeastern Mass in an area that we have in mainly rain and 2 to 5 inches right now. That is one aspect of the forecast that we're going to be watching very closely. A lot of people looking for a storm timeline, and here it is. This is for the Providence area in general. Try to spread it out as much as we can. 8 o'clock Wednesday evening, rain and snow, temperatures falling to about 32 degrees as you get up into the far northwest corner of Rhode Island and Worcester County, to as mild as 38 still near the coastline and in eastern Massachusetts. Winds between 25 and 50 miles per hour. Snow starting to accumulate some after midnight. By 6 in the morning, should be snowing 32 to 34. I think that's the best chance during the entire storm, aside from the very end of the storm, of seeing snow everywhere in southern New England, except for maybe the Cape and the islands. Look at those winds, though, 30 to 60 miles per hour. So it's about 30 miles an hour sustained, in 60 miles per hour for gusts out on the Cape, maybe even 35 to 40 miles per hour sustained. And then when you get back into the Providence area, the wind is most likely to be gusting to about 40, 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour. 6 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, very unsettled day, rain and snow in the forecast. If it is snow, there's not a great chance that it's going to be accumulating because of the temperatures, which creep slightly above freezing, and the high sun angle that you get at this time of the year. Snow inland again Thursday night. Temperatures falling, and there could be more accumulations, especially inland and in that favored area that we talked about for the highest snowfall total. So there's the storm timeline. That snow winding down by midday on Friday. It stays windy through Friday afternoon. Thankfully, much better weather from the forecast for Saturday.